Hello, hello. I am late to my own live stream. How about that? All right, people. We got Evi. No, nobody's on. Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, if anybody jumps in, sees this, I hope you've enjoyed your day. It's 9/11 today, and I hope some of you look back and remembered why this day is remembered and why we need to vote appropriately to make sure our borders are safe. Right now, we don't have safe borders, and I certainly hope that we don't have another day like 9/11 where our homeland is attacked. So, with that, I hope you all enjoyed your day, had a good weekend and whatnot. I'm trying to fill the spot for Diesel and Iron for Brian. Hope you guys are chilling. Ryan, hey, you're first in, first to reply, anyways. Nice to have you in. So I don't have a whole lot set up as a schedule for us. I just wanted to have some place for everyone to go. I didn't do a live stream last weekend. I wound up being pretty busy, and so Brian's not around this week, so I'm filling his spot. So I got his hat. I got a little. I got a root beer here. Was this River City root beer? So hopefully I can get you guys a few burps and belches to mimic Brian in his day. So if you guys got any questions for me, whatever, how the days are going. We've had some incredibly hot days at work, and we have a fire going on that's about 30 miles from the job site, and we actually got smoked out. If you watch my Instagram page, you will have seen some of those pictures. I think I've got some more to post, but it's been kind of crazy with what's going on around us. Around us, we actually got sent home Thursday and Friday because the smoke level got so thick. Everyone was coughing, eyes were watering. It was just all bad stuff. So, how you doing, Ryan? Any new news or anything like that? This might be a short show if we can't get anybody in. I had a question about refusing to dig unsafe trenches, how to properly refuse it to how to refuse it to where it doesn't turn into a fight, and then how to work with them to change the plan where it's safe. Yeah. Hey, Windsor, welcome. So, changing plans on excavations, you as the digger, you're the end all to be all of deciding what's safe and not safe. You are given, like me, I'm given a set of plans and instructions on the safest manner to dig the trench at the time, whether it be shoring, open cut V ditching, shoring plan that's already been created for the material. Typically, if you don't find that what you're doing is to your satisfaction, you think it's unsafe, step one, go to your foreman, tell him, hey, I don't think this is safe enough. And from there, you have a discussion with your foreman. And if he says you're a chicken or BS or whatever, even your ground guys are willing to go in there. We got a lot of people that are idiots, I guess you could say, that are willing to go into any hole. I've seen some gnarly stuff, and it gets crazy. But you have the right under OSHA to say it's unsafe and I'm not digging this anymore. You can stop work. You have the right to stop work. All you have to do is call your company safety manager, safety officer, whatever you call them, and I have my safety guy's number in my phone. So if I ever have a problem or anything like that, I just call him direct, and they will send someone out. Either he comes out or someone else will come out and look at the issue and say, okay, so this is a problem. This is the way we should resolve this. Because conditions do change as you progress. We ran into some conditions, and I saw the condition coming. In this particular job that I'm on right now, we're doing a 36-inch storm drain, doing an open cut. It was 3/4 to 1. Our inspector showed up and says, "Hey, I haven't seen the 3/4 to 1 plan, engineered plan. So I need that before you can do a 3/4 to 1." So I had to open up the ditch to a 1 to 1 per standard OSHA specs until he received that 3/4 to 1 in written form. We eventually got it to him, and I continued digging at my 3/4 to 1 with a 4-foot vertical. And it wound up as I continued on and got closer towards a road. There are some pictures of that on my Instagram. And what happened is the open cut was just getting too close to the road. Possibility of joint trench being there, utilities and whatnot. So we had to go to a box, a shield, a stackable shield. We were 12 feet tall, and it's a 12-foot long shield. Wish we had gotten a 16-foot long shield, would have made things a little bit easier, but we're still dealing with it. We finally got to the last manhole, and guys are safe. Had some issues. There were a lot of discussions going back and forth, but if I hadn't said anything as early as I had, we never would have gotten the shield in place in the first place. They would have pushed me as far as they could have gone. And I had mentioned it to my foreman. He agreed with me and said, "Yeah, I'll order the shields right now." And we took care of it and changed our process right away. So sometimes if you've got a good working relationship with your foreman, you can change things pretty easily. Not to mention, if you've been working with a guy like me, I've been working with my guy, Andy, for a long time, and he trusts me and I trust him. So that's one way we go with it. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways it can go. Bad ways sometimes. Yeah, winding up getting into an argument is never a good way to get anything done. So coming up with a logical explanation of why you think this is a problem would be the way to go. And that's the way I do it, is I present the problem and I present a solution. And then we talk back and forth and we come up with a mutual agreed solution. So that's how that works out. So thank you guys. Everybody's coming in. Shout out, give me your names. Let me know who's in here. If you got any questions for me, shout them out. I'll do my best. I'll answer anything. It doesn't have to be about construction. I mean, it could be about toilet paper. We've had that happen before too. So, anybody got anything? I'm a little short on some information here. Okay, Windsor, thank you. So I was wondering if you ever got stuff lined out with your company so you can record again. Yes and no. I have the ability. I'm recording stuff all the time still. I have to submit and get an agreement that it's okay. I have to make sure I'm blurring out all of the logos, the company logos and whatnot, make sure nothing gets seen. And that's kind of difficult. And I've said this before, is our company has a logo or 2 or 3 on everything. Every guy has a logo on his hard hat. Every guy has a logo on his back, on his safety vest, and every machine's got about 3 logos on it. So finding videos that I can make of the job is difficult at best. And then plus trying to keep any third-party logos out of it as well, like in the backgrounds. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I can post stuff, and I do have some stuff I am working on, but I've been working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. It's not a lot of time for me to make good content for you guys. Okay, Ryan, have you ever had issues with looking into the sun? Yes, there's many a times I've had that issue. I had earlier this week, we were prepping for sod, but the sun was so low, brightened, that I could not see my bucket, so I switched sides. Yeah, that's one way to do it. I mean, when you're trenching, there's no option. Recently, I was digging and I'm throwing my dirt literally into the sun, so I'd have to put my bucket right in front of the sun, and so I could dump my dirt just so I could see where I'm going. Either that, or I just swing over, get to the right place, close my eyes, and hope for the best. So yeah, that kind of stuff does happen. And I mean, the other worst one besides the sun, but you gotta remember the sun moves, so eventually it goes away. The wind, yeah, that's another one. You throw in dirt into the wind, it comes right back into your face if you have an open cab. That always sucks. Uh, see, Windsor Bumper, I bet blurring stuff takes forever. Yes, I had one. I had to go back, and I've been working on blurring logos out of my old videos, which I could spend up to 8 hours on each one of those videos. Is there half an hour of trying to trace and follow logos around? Yeah, it's a true pain. So I'm trying to capture stuff and eliminate anything that has logos in it and minimize the amount of stuff, which makes the content even more difficult to create for you guys. Um, Ryan, my forum wasn't happy, but it didn't feel like a good idea to continue on that side when I couldn't see what I was doing. Yeah, that is a issue. I mean, your concerns are valid. Just remember that. I mean, I validate you. So yeah, concerns are legitimate. I mean, if you have an issue you can't see, if you've got guys working around your bucket and stuff like that, that's an issue. It's a problem. I mean, I've gone as far as hanging T-shirts. Like I'd take a T-shirt, a sweater, or whatever, and get a piece of cardboard, cut it, and put it right at that level that would block the sun and allow you to continue to work and see your bucket. That's just one idea. Uh, Jesus, what's up, man? Glad to have you in. Let me see. Windsor, hi, Ryan. Yeah, I had every guy had to shovel up the other days so I could see to dig to the next house. Couldn't see the damn thing with it. Yeah, that's like I said, it happens. Uh, Let me see here. What else have I been doing? Yeah, yesterday. So we got another job where um, the office makes decisions on what we put into the ground. Sometimes they make on the fly decisions. So imagine sewer services coming off your main, going to the house pad, and right now another company is coming in behind us. They're doing the joint trench, and some of our sewer laterals were supposed to be at 4 feet, which is above the joint trench. So joint trench comes in, they wind up digging underneath all of our stuff. Well, we had two streets where our laterals were at 6 feet, so joint trench was going over it. And the problem was is that we have a Y at the bottom with a clean out coming up, and then the Y goes out to the house pad where the plumber would hook onto it. The problem was is we didn't lay a little tail coming out of the Y. We had just like a little stub sticking out, so we had to go down on Saturday, redig down to these Ys and lay them out past the joint trench, and that's been a pain in the butt. It's just it just takes away from the product of the job, makes us look stupid. All right, so where are we at? Not to mention I'm in that ungodly rock, which is a pain. Hey, Ryan, talking to Windsor. I also had a low overhead lines, which was complicating things. Yeah, that's something. That's I mean, when you got overhead and you got stuff underneath you and all around you, that situational awareness is something that you've really got to develop. Uh, for me, I'm very blessed. Even though I'm wearing cheaters right now, just so I can read what's on the screen. Um, Normally, I don't wear glasses at all, but I have great peripheral vision. I've got almost about 180 degrees of peripheral vision, which is pretty wide, and I can see my mirrors most of the time, even when I'm digging. As long as if I'm not looking down, I'm not going to see that upper mirror. If I'm looking straight out, I can see my mirrors, and I pay attention. I keep a head count of everyone that's around me, so that way I know if somebody walks off, I'm like, oh, hey, where did so and so go? And that way they'll say, oh well, he went over there to the other crew. Okay, good. I'm good. So I keep going. But overhead lines, I think so. Story time. I had a job. We were working in Brentwood, California, in one of the old portions of town where all the overhead lines are overhead, and no power, nothing was underground except for they did have fiber optics that went between two police station buildings. And so going down the street, it was like somebody had just thrown angel hair pasta up into the trees, and there's just wires everywhere. And I'm running a Cat 350, which is a 50-ton machine, and that thing I couldn't. And I'm loading into trucks. I barely had enough room to swing up and over the rails of the truck and dump into them. So I really didn't use the boom much. I'd go down with the boom, and then I would stick straight out and then swing over the truck and then just uncurl. So there was no fluid motion in that digging process. It was slow, it sucked, but sometimes you just wind up in those situations, and that it is what it is. Yeah. Windsor, gotta love those wires. Yeah. It's a challenge. Just slows everything down. Yep, that's true. So, oh, Jesus. Just started down here with local 12. Came into it from laborers union. I've been with 12 for a year, but really I want to work construction where we're considered maintenance, so our pay scale is lower. I've been with 12 for a year. Really want to work construction where considered maintenance. So I gotta clean that up a little bit. So you want to work something like city work where you're doing maintenance on lines. Is that correct? Because if you're in the local 12, you're pretty much stuck with what the union. You're looking for union companies. So basically you're going to have to get on the out of work list if or I'm not I think believe some of the local 12 rules and regulations are the same as the local 3s, where you have to put in 5 years before you can search for work for anyone you worked with for the last 5 years. Then at 10 years you get a 10-year letter, which allows you to look for work anywhere you want. And but that's also with as long as that company is signatory to the union. And it really shrinks up depending on whether you're in a union heavy area or a union thin area. A lot of city work, utilities and stuff like that are not going to be signatory. Those are all city jobs and whatnot, and not associated with the union. Finding a company that you want to do, figure out what you want to do, which I think you have figured out what you want to do. It's a matter of finding the companies that do what you want to do and going to them and trying to get them to hire you while you're still working where you're at. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep your head down. Don't get in trouble. Don't do anything stupid. Just and learn as much as possible where you're at. When the season ends, you immediately sign up on the out of work list and hope you get pulled out to a different company that'll put you to work doing something closer to what you want to do. Oh, where you're at is considered maintenance already. So I'm guessing you're trying to get away from the maintenance and you actually want to go into more of a production role. Doing a head count. So really keeping track of what color people have on to keep track of which person is where. Yeah, and Ryan, that's a good thing to do. Where I work, everybody's the same color and the same hard hat. There's maybe one or two guys that have different stuff on. The foremans wear a different vest than the workers. All the workers, it's all pretty standard colors. But usually, when you're depending on what role you're playing, if you're in the back end doing backfill or laying pipe or something like that, you have a crew, that you're used to working with. So backfill, it's just going to be machines. You might have a laborer that runs around making sure that services, water services, laterals and stuff, when you compact around them, aren't moving around, or adding in valve cans for water line valves, making sure all that's standing up straight, and maybe they're running a whacker or some kind of tamper or something like that around those. So yeah, and then you get into your pipe crews, which have typically 3 to 4 guys on the ground around you. So you got 2 guys laying pipe, maybe one guy, a spotter up top, and then a guy that just runs around getting parts. If you're lucky, you can have a crew that size. Typically, pipe crews are 3 guys, maybe 4. And then you get up into the digging crew, and that's pretty much you and one and your ground man, and that's it. So it's pretty easy to keep track of that. All right, Ryan, I think what he's getting at is he's currently a maintenance with low pay, but he wants to move into construction work. Okay. Okay. Um, all right. Getting into excavation and dirt work. Yeah, you gotta go to your union hall and tell them what you want to do. Get your qualifications through the training center if they offer that. I don't know how 12 works. I know here, Local 3, we have a training center, and I'm lucky I'm not too far from it. When I went through the apprenticeship program, I went out there a few times, and I got qualified on some regular machines. I got qualified on blade, excavator, backhoe, dozer, and loader. Those are the 5 things I qualified on. But I still got dispatched as a scraper hand my first time out. So it's just how things work. But getting qualifications puts you as a priority for those machines. So getting the training through the union and so like if you're off work, if you sign up on the out of work list, look and find out what training is available at that time while you're out of work. See if they have any training and stuff like that. Our union training center, if you're able to get to it, which I was actually lucky because I said I'm pretty close to it, I was able to drive out there anytime they were open, and they have a video training center where you go in, you watch videos of all the stuff that they want, or they have training videos on the equipment, stuff like that, for specific pieces of equipment, how it should be done and things like that. Then when you want to go out there for the training, or just going out and getting a test for that specific equipment, you've already done all the training through the videos and whatnot. You just haven't done any practical training. You sign up for a class, do the practical training, and get that done, and then you take the test and get approved to be dispatched on that piece of a machine. You don't have to close the door, babe.
I can disrupt you.
I'm live.
I found something that was stolen from me.
Okay, well, I got the wife bugging me. Okay. So I hope that helps you a little bit there. It's just, Ryan. And by too much, I mean I was greasing every 1 to 2 days, depending on how long the machine worked and how hard we were running the machine. Yeah, greasing sucks. I did lube on a job. I helped the lube guy during lunch. So I would work my first part of the day, come in for lunch when everyone else did, but I didn't take lunch. I jumped with the lube guy. I would run either the fuel hose or I would run the grease gun. Most of the time I ran the grease gun because the lube guy didn't want me to miss anything. And so once I got good with that, he just started letting me grease everything, and then, well, telling me to grease everything. But the blade was the worst. Having to grease the blade sucked because it was like 112 zerks on those stupid things. At least the old ones were. So I know your pain when you talk about greasing equipment. So I'm lucky now. I got a lube guy that comes out and he greases everything for me. I don't have to do anything. I just have to check the oil in the morning, make sure everything's not leaking and stuff like that. See if there's anything that needs to be fixed, missing bolt out of the bucket or whatnot. And that's the kind of stuff that I have to worry about. Not much. Ryan Garrett, local 793 has a training center. It's 6 hours away from me, but now that I'm in the union, I get to take any course there and it doesn't cost a dime. Yeah. And for us, another thing you can do if you're out of work, you can claim unemployment. I don't know if you have unemployment there, but for here, we have unemployment. Babe, I don't have time.
Knock, knock.
No.
We have barbecue, chicken and barbecue. That's all I
Oh, God. Okay. All right. So where was I? Okay. Ryan, training center, 6 hours away. Yeah, you save. So if you're out of work and you're on unemployment, you don't lose your unemployment to go take training classes. So that's one thing that we have here is we don't lose our unemployment while we're taking schooling. And that's usually one of the questions that they have on our unemployment thing. Are you going to school or anything like that? So one of the cool things is we don't have to worry about that. Yes, that's same here, Ryan. Yeah, we claim unemployment while we're at the training center, and they pay for our food and housing while we're up here. Yeah, that's they don't pay us anything, but they do cover. They do have rooms that we can stay in, and they do have food available for us on site because local 3 we're pretty big, and we go all the way into Nevada, and we go up north, and we go halfway down to you guys to local 12. So we've got a large area that they cover, and they cover all. And that's the one. This is the one training center for all of this. So I think we got thousands and thousands of members that all sign up to go out there. So it's pretty crazy, but yeah, no, it's a good system. I like it. Let me see. What else do we have going on? What else? Stupid stuff going on in the background. Anybody else got any questions? So we can keep this rolling here. I know I got a few viewers out there. Nobody said hi, so you guys can always tag in. Just say hello, and I'll say hello. Ask me any questions about anything you guys want. I'm here for whatever you need. So I guess we'll have to come up with another story. Let me see what else. What other story can I come up with? Accidents. Accidents. Some of the accidents I've seen. One of the biggest accidents that I've been a witness to was on a quarry that we were converting into a park. So we had quarry holes that had filled up with water and were basically lakes, but had vertical walls on them. So our job was to go in. We were sloping back the walls. This is back in the 90s. This is back in 97. This is when I bought my first brand new truck. So we were working 510s on this project. Everybody was living in trailers on the job site. And so it's a lot of work. This is back when drugs were real prevalent, really bad within the industry. So we were using 637 scrapers, and they were pretty new at the time. And these guys were running nose to tail along one of the ridges. So we got the verticals here, and it falls off down to the water, and then they were starting a new cut right along the edge. The dozers had D6s and D8s. I believe we had a D9L at the time that would push off the top and crumble off the top down, so it would eliminate that vertical. The problem that they ran into is these two guys, they went out to that edge before it had gotten pushed off, and 20 feet of the wall gave way with one of the scrapers on it. It was the rear scraper that was connected to the front scraper. So the lead guy drugged this guy out there to this thing, and the bank gave way with the second scraper on it. And it came unhooked and rolled twice and landed in the water upside down. Only about a foot or so of one of the wheels was sticking up out of the water. Now, this operator, these are fully enclosed cabs. The operator that was on the machine, he says he doesn't know how he got out of the machine. Now, all he says he remembers was popping his seatbelt and then popping out of the water. It was bad. It was a real bad accident. They drug tested both the operators. The guy that was in the accident, he was drug free. The guy that was running the lead scraper, he got hit for positive on some drugs and got fired, and a whole lot of other stuff. Bad things happened to him. He got written up even into the union, so he had a permanent tag on his union jacket. But it took them 2 weeks to come up with a plan to flip the scraper back on its wheels and pull it out of the drink. And the job got shut down for a week. OSHA did a huge investigation. Like I said, it was probably the worst one I've seen, and I've seen a few other rollovers and things like that. We just recently locally had a excavator flip over on a hillside that wasn't even that safe. It was only like a 3-to-1. I think he backed into a hole and had his boom in the air, and the thing just flopped over. And I was like, my God, I don't even know how you do these things. But I got sent the pictures right after it had happened. Let me see. Got a couple more comments. Okay. I don't know if it's coming through to you and Shane, but when I said I was greasing every 1 to 2 days, I said my foreman was getting bent out of shape, saying that it was way too often. It's not way too often, man. It really depends on how often and what you're doing with the machine. So there are certain parts of the machine that get used more. So you're looking at the elbows, the knuckle, and stuff like that, and the boom. Those are some major pieces that move constantly and all the time. They don't get greased regularly. They start squeaking and doing damage to the bearings inside. And I've seen bearings come out of an excavator, and it's not pretty, and it's not something that you want to have to wait on, because if that machine goes down, now they got to rent another machine or get a mechanic out and bore out the old bearings. It's a whole ordeal. Don't worry about what the foreman's saying about that greasing every couple of days. We get greased every other day. All our machines, we get a little shot of grease every single fitting. Like I said, we have a lube guy that comes out during the day. We shut down, and each individual guy, and then he fuels and oils us and greases us. And that's the grease is probably, depending on the machine. Digging machine will get grease every other day. Compaction guys that are running compaction wheels and stuff like that, they get greased on a daily basis, because they're constantly back and forth with the full weight of the machine on that wheel. So those get greased on a daily basis. The like any scrapers or loaders and stuff like that, those guys get greased like twice a week. So every few days, every 2 or 3 days. Josh, thank you for coming in. Let me see. Just joined the union as a laborer and have past experiences running equipment and would like to be an operator. How should I go about that? Let the company approach me about it or go to them? Okay, Josh. So that's a loaded question, because I'll tell you this. Every single laborer that I have seen in the last 5 to 10 years, as soon as we hire them, they come and tell me they're an operator and they want the company to put them in the union. You are going to be at the bottom of the list if you go to the office and tell them that. You can always go to your foreman. It doesn't hurt. I'm just telling you that every foreman has heard every laborer say the exact same thing, and they'll blow you off. If you get the chance to, if the machine needs to be moved or something needs to be done, don't jump on it like you deserve to be there. Just say, hey, can I move this machine, just to get it out of the way. Then you move the machine here and there. You do some little things, and then next thing you know, the foreman's saying, hey, why don't you go over there, jump on the machine, and go grab some parts and bring them back. Slowly building the rapport of, hey, I know what I'm doing on the machine. Maybe you'll get into a conversation with the foreman asking you about your experience, because if you actually know what you're doing on it, it will show. Even if you're just moving the machine 40, 50 feet, it's fairly obvious to anybody that's been in the industry for a long amount of time to spot somebody that knows what they're doing and someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I can spot it in the first 5 seconds. And the last 4 guys that have showed up on my job said they were operators. I even had operators show up and said, "Oh yeah, I can dig like crazy." And the guy gets on the excavator, barely can swap a bucket to a wheel. Um, so a lot of people lie in this industry about their capabilities, and it's one of my things is they send me out to test and check out people if it's necessary, but most of the time the foreman will say, yeah, this guy's not an operator, or this guy maybe he's an operator, and then that's when I would come out and say yes or no. So I'm in that position to be able to say yes or no to some of you guys. And I get guys hit me up. Well, as soon as they find out who I am, they'll come over and, hey, I can run this. I've done this. I worked this many times. Yeah. Well, you were hired as a laborer. I'm sorry, but you're a laborer. Okay. The best thing to do is go to your union. They have a test. Take the test. Get your test score, and that test score will help you get into the union. It also place you on a list of where you rank versus other people trying to get in the union. So I'll tell you right now, people trying to get in the union, there's usually a 5-year waiting list to get into a union. The way you can get in is if you do prove yourself to the company that you are a good operator, that you can run equipment, they can sponsor you. But the sponsorships only work when there's less than 15% of people in the out of work list. And right now, here where I'm at, we've got almost 20% of people out of work on the list. They're not taking any applicants right now. So getting into the union sometimes is not as easy as everyone thinks it is, even though everyone wants to. So let me see. That was a good one. That one got me rolling. All right, Windsor, man, you guys get free food and also get your training site. Y'all lucky we don't get anything at my local. Well, it's just the way it is. Some locals are stronger than others. Local 3 is one of the strongest in the country. Haven't been there. That's what I've been told. Yeah, it's probably the truth because it's same thing with us. Is most of the unions are that way. I just let him go on his way. I know that the owners are all over the operators to take off the equipment. So I don't care how mad he gets. I'm still taking time to get to grease and look over the machine. Yeah, I mean, you can show up early, do all that stuff. We start our company. We actually have a required stretch and flex. The owner of the company sets aside 10 minutes in the morning. So from our start time, we start doing stretch and flex, and then we go to our machines, do our walkarounds. And our company, we actually have a application, CHSS, which allows us to do a digital check sheet on our machine. We sign in for the job site number. We just pull up the list, and then we go down the list, go, yes, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Just hit all the green check marks and send it off to them through the application, and you're done with your walk around. The walk arounds are fairly simple. Is there anything on the ground that's leaking? No. Okay, what's good? Is the oil good? The water good? Mirrors, lights, and all that stuff. And typically, you know what all this stuff is during the week. Nothing new has popped up. On Mondays, you want to do a detailed walk around. During the rest of the week, probably nothing new is going to pop up. Usually on the weekend, somebody may come out and do a little damage to the rig just to be an ass. So that's how we do ours. I don't know. I know you're probably just doing a walk around. There's no reports or anything that go to our office or go to your office. RAL, RAL. Been operating for 20 years. Never union. Would I have to start at the bottom? Well, that depends on how you get started into the union. If you get started into the union, being that you have 20 years of experience, you probably have a benefit of that experience going into the union, because the union's always looking for people that want to get in the union, that have experience, so they don't have to train them and they can send them right out to work. Now, if your union is low on people on the out of work list, you're more likely to get in. But again, like I was telling the other guy, Josh, is you have to take the test, get on the list. They'll interview you and whatnot and get all your information, and then it's just a matter of waiting. And as a starting at the bottom, you're going to be joining a company that is signatory to the union and that you've never worked with. So that would be starting at the bottom. So yeah, you're starting with a new company unless you've got a company that goes signatory. And I was a part of. I had joined a company that went signatory right as I joined them. So everyone there automatically got signed into the union. Everyone, all the operators that were already there, became operating engineers. So they all got a easy in. That's not a very often way that would happen. But yeah, starting out with a new company in the union, yeah, you're going to start at the bottom of the union as well because you've got to go through whatever rules they have in place to get through. Uh, so depending on where in the country and what union you're in, you might be making more money, but the money as whatever you get dispatched as is what you're going to make. So it doesn't matter if you're top or bottom, what you're dispatched as is what you make, whether you're good or not, which is kind of sucky because we get guys that get dispatched out as excavator operators that aren't worth the guy that they're just got hired above. So it's kind of a roll of the dice sometimes. If you're good, you get noticed. They'll bump you up the ladder fairly quick over a year or two, and you'll get noticed and get taken in, and they'll keep you around in the winter because I don't get laid off pretty much ever. I have to request time off. I work year round. Raul, in all honesty, it depends on who you know. That's true as well. Um, Getting to know people because the company I was worked for the first 15 years of my career, they went under 2008, 2009. Company disappeared. I got lucky. I had one of the owners, a partial owner, had taken me to another company, so I got through 2008, went into 2009, and then got laid off early 2009, and I was out of work for 8 months. And then I made a phone call to another one of the owners of the old company. He had gotten in with the company I'm in now, and he got me a start. So when I came in, I was a lead digger for a company. I was the man, and I came in as a bobtail driver. That's how I got started with this company. Started as a bobtail driver. Then I stuck around. They put me on excavators doing backfill, and it was just a matter of waiting out the list of people ahead of me and getting noticed, getting FaceTime with the company, getting FaceTime with the office personnel, the dispatchers especially, foremans. I worked with lots of different foremans in the beginning because I didn't have a home crew. I basically got bounced around from crew to crew. While I did have people rooting for me in the office, I still had to make the impression on all of the different foremans and get my name out there and get known. Once you get known, then you're on easy street and everyone starts requesting to have you. And then once you get a crew and you become the head of that crew, or you became locked into that crew, you go wherever that crew goes. And that's where I'm at right now is wherever my crew goes, I go. And I do get the occasional call out for specialty jobs and go to different jobs just to run like the big 870 we own. We had some 750s that I would run occasionally, but they would usually send me out to GPS jobs and things like that because I was the only guy in the company, funny enough, that really understood and was able to run the GPS stuff for an excavator. Ryan, I got on a mainline crew for a day and a half this week. Nice. That's always fun. Mainline is the place to be. And they were asking me what I could run, and I just told them I could run the excavator, loader, etc. Just that I was used to small equipment. Yeah, small equipment doesn't always transfer up to big equipment just because the controls the hydraulics and whatnot are quite a bit different in feel. Uh, this new, so I've got a brand new machine I'm running, guys. I got a Cabelco 500 SC, oh no, an SC 500 LC 10. That's what I'm running right now. It's only got, it just turned over 500 hours on it, and I hate the damn thing. I hate Cabelcos. It's a brand new rig, AC radio, everything, cab's nice, seats nice, everything in it works, but I hate the machine. I don't know what it is. Well, actually, I do know what it is. There's a lot of little things about the Cabelcos I just don't like. They're decent machines. It's just there's little things about the hydraulic systems, the way the machine is oriented, the way they dig. It annoys me. I like the John Deere's, Hitachi's, Cat. It's been a long time since I've been on a Cat. Probably been about 9 years since I dug it on a Cat. I think the last Cat I ran was a what was it? 328 zero swing. Did 9 mile force main sewer from a lift station all the way to a sewer treatment plant up in the mountains, and that was a fun job to do. What's your favorite brand of equipment, Cooper? Well, I just told you what my least favorite is. I love Cat, John Deere, Hitachi. John Deere and Hitachi are the same machine. Komatsu's. I haven't run a Komatsu in a long time. I ran a lot of Komatsu's back in the 90s and early 2000s. I have run some of the newer Komatsu loaders, which are real nice. I think it was a WA 320, I think is what I ran. Not as much lifting capacity as I would hope for. It wasn't able to pick up what the Cats pick up, or even the what else? What are those other new ones we got? Komatsu. Oh yeah, we got a John Deere 824 or 624 and 824 loaders. Those are big boys, about equal to like the 950s loaders from Cat. Stretch and flex, Windsor. Stretch and flex, for those old operators, more likely bend and moan. You have no idea how real that is. The struggle is real with that. It really is, yeah. I do my best to do a lot of stretching. Even on weekends, I do a stretch and flex here at my house. I'll go out on my back porch and I'll do a stretch every morning. And it helps a ton, dude. It really does. It doesn't get rid of the moans and groans or the creakies and the cracks, but it does help with flexibility a lot, because when you're sitting in that machine for 8, 10, 12 hours straight without getting off and stretching throughout the day, dude, you get sore. You come off the machine bent over, and the laborers look at you like, dude, you haven't even done anything all day. Why are you all hunched over? Ryan, I get into the union pretty easy with 2 years of operating experience. I had 500 hours of to prove I could do what I claimed, and then I got signed into the union. Yeah, that's POP, probationary period. My POP was 750 hours when I did it, and I got put in pretty quick. Same deal. Jesus, I got sponsored in. They just showed me the basics and sent me off. Yes, it was just fight or flight, or flight or fight. Just don't hit anything was the only instruction. Yeah, Jesus, that's when you get thrown into the union. The union is relying that the company that gave you the push to get in, or the assistance to get into the union, they are relying that the company is telling the union that you know what you're doing. So my suggestion to you is take advantage of the union training that they have available to you when you're not working. Figure it out and find a way. Even if the company, even go to the company and say, hey, there's a class for this happening out at the union hall, or out at the union training center. I would like to go to it. Can I take the time off to go get the training? And I would hope your company would say, yeah, go get the training. Hopefully, they would give you a little stipend or something like that to go out there, because I know the union's not going to pay you to go out there. And it's just kind of sometimes they can work it where you can do unemployment, but probably not. That might be on your own time. Uh, Windsor, hey Shane, just curious, what's the work hours requirement to graduate your local apprenticeship program? Ours was 6,000 hours on the job. Didn't know if all locals were the same. To be honest with you, man, I haven't looked into the hours requirements. I think the last couple of guys I did talk to that were apprentices were saying that each step is now 1,500 hours to get through the step, and there's 5 steps plus probationary period. So when I went through, it was 750 hours on POP, and then each step was 1,000 hours. So I got through the through the apprenticeship program, and outside of the POP, from 95, 96, 97, I journeyed out earlier mid 90, 98, 99. I think it was 98 is when I journeyed out. So I got out in 4 years. That's what it took me. But I was also working for a company when I was doing the underground. I this isn't You're not supposed to do this, but I was working overtime hours for straight time pay. The company came to me and said, "Hey, we'll work you extra hours, but we're not going to pay you the overtime." At the time, I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning, but they were giving me seat time on an excavator instead of running the loader after hours. So I got a little time running the excavator, and that's how I got a lot of real experience early on. But I was able to get like 2,000 hours a year because I was working that straight time. And I had made a promise to myself once I journeyed out, no more straight time for overtime, especially with the company. I said, "Thank you guys. You've done it. You've got me through the apprenticeship program. Now I'm no longer going to do any of this, and this, like makeup days. I don't do makeup days. You want me to work on a Saturday? You owe me time and a half to do that." Just because something happened during the week that made it so no one could work, that's not my problem, not my fault. On Saturday's overtime. All right, so yeah, so it's so I'd have to do the math on it, but it's probably pretty close to that 6,000 hours, which kind of sucks because they're making you guys, the apprentices, go through that longer. Takes longer to get your pay raises. Ryan, I never had an issue stepping into the 20 to 36 ton excavators. Usually takes about an hour to get comfortable, and then I'm off and going. Yeah, it takes me 5 minutes, but that's with 30 years of experience doing it. I can usually jump in a rig and figure it out in a few strokes of the bucket, and it's usually what I'll do. So one of the things I do, Ryan, is when I get on the machine, new machine or whatever, before I even stick the bucket in the ground, I'll have the bucket on. I'll reach it all the way out, and then I pull it all the way in, trying to keep a flat bucket just about 6 inches off the ground to see how the boom and stick and bucket all work while simultaneously using them all at the same time. And then I'll do that in reverse. And doing that gives you a good sense of how that machine's going to move when it's going through the ground. And that's just a quick forwards and backs. You've got it. Now you go out and do your job. And then you've got a real good basic idea of what's going on. And same thing when you get into the big machines, once you get over 50 tons, the machines start working slower because they're just such a big machine. They don't move as fast as the small machines, and they're actually easier to run than the small machines. My North foreman is always telling our crew that mainline sucks, always rushing and yelling, nothing ever good enough, etc. Honestly, I was in heaven the day and a half I spent on the crew. Mainline is a glorious and hellish place to be. You're only as good as your last dig, and it's not, I don't mean on the last job, I mean day to day. You could have a glorious day where you get tons of footage, but your pipe crew can't keep up. Or the pipe crew is right on you and you're sucking. You're just having a bad day because you got a lot of things to dig around. You're dealing with your overhead stuff around you, your limited space. You got trucking that's not showing up on time. There's a lot of things, and then you get blamed for it for not making production. So mainline is, like I say, it can be glorious and it can be hell all at the same time. Like, we hammer out a job, but then you're after the job, you got to do all the cleanup and all the other little things that just wipe out the profits on the job. And that's one of the things I was talking about earlier, is we have to go back and fix a lot of our sewer laterals that are that the office made decisions on, and now we're fixing those because the office told us to do it or not to do it. And that sucks because it makes our crew look bad. But yeah, I'm a mainline guy. I love mainline. I love sitting in that machine and just digging trench all day long. That's my happy place. So I'm right there with you, Ryan. Cooper, thanks for the reply. Love your channel and the live streams. Good to talk with you. Other operators around the country. Shout out from Texas. Dude, I lived in Texas. I lived in Austin, Texas when I was a kid for a short period of time. Thanks for coming in. Windsor, I got through my locals apprentice program in 2012, graduated 2018. I got lucky and I work year round for a company doing sewer and water. That's all I do. Sewer, water, and storm drains. I do storm drains as well. I've also done some dry utilities, gas lines. I got certified for gas line repairs and dig ups, which was huge here because you have to be certified to dig around gas lines here. Ryan, then again, I heard from the mainline crew that my foreman was pretty useless when he was a laborer on the mainline crew, and he didn't last long on the mainline. Hey, that happens. Some people are just not cut out to be a mainline crew, and part of it. And a mainline crew, they have to be cohesive. They all have to know their job and know their portion of the job, and they have to be able to work together. They don't have to be friends with each other, but they have to be able to work together. We've got guys that spend all day yelling at each other, but they're really good at their jobs and they get stuff done. And at the end of the day, they'll all crack a beer and say, hey, screw you, I'll see you tomorrow. Let me see. When I do get in the digger machines, I feel like I am always waiting on it to move. So it's fun when I see people get into the small machines because it looks like they're riding a bull. Yes, those small machines, they whip around and do all kinds of stuff, and it's while some companies see the small machines as the place to start a guy, I don't. Like I said, 20-ton machines are a good place to start someone because you're big enough to screw up a lot of stuff, and you're small enough that you're not going to kill a lot of stuff either. But you get a better feel for the stuff. And then you go to the minis. The minis do jerk around. You've got a blade on most of them, and it's a different world in a mini because you're typically doing stuff in areas that are harder to get to. I worked on a little John Deere. Well, no, I was on a Cat 60, a bucket no bigger than a shovel, trenching through an area that had scaffolding on both sides of me. And this little 60, it was a zero swing. I couldn't even spin it around in a circle. Couldn't even stick the bucket straight in the air and spin around. It was that tight. I literally was taking a scoop and throwing it under the scaffolding, trying to stick it through the scaffolding and just to dump my dirt. It was horrible setup. And unfortunately, the laborers had to do a whole lot of shoveling. And I hate it when that happens. Where am I? Okay, Cooper. Hell yeah, that's where we all shout at Austin. More like Cedar Park, but all around the area. Why do you not do site construction as dirt cut and fill? That's because our company doesn't do that. We are we work in conjunction with other dirt companies. We have a sister company that does dirt work, and when they go to a job site, they highly recommend us as a pipe crew or as a piping company. So they do all the dirt work. We come in, we do all the underground work, and then another company or us come in, do the dry utilities, and then the dirt crew comes back in and finishes the job, and then does rock and paving as well. Another company usually do the paving. Jesus, shout out from SoCal, everyone, and thanks for all the advice, Shane. Yeah, no problem, man. That's what I'm here for. It's what I want to do. Is one of my things is I want to be able to pass on my knowledge as best as possible. So take advantage of me, guys. Send me emails if you can. If you don't want to ask questions in here, my email address. Currently, I am trying to get the Lever Monkey email address working. I have one. I can send emails with it, but I can't receive emails. I own the website and I own the website address and whatnot. I'm working on a website, so I'm hoping to get that up and running. I really want to get that email working, so that way I have Shane at the levermonkey.com. That's the website. It's not up. There's nothing there at this point. I've got a ton of work I've got to get done, and I do web editing too. So I have a couple other things. But the email I'm currently using will be Shane at digitalcombatmercenaries.com. That's another website. It's a flying web group that I have. So I created that email address for temporary use for this group right now. So I'll actually, let me type that in for you guys. There you go. That's my email address, guys, that you can contact me at. It's in the text. Let's see. I'll pin that. Will it allow me to pin it? Oh, pin message. There it is. Okay. So you guys can click on that. You guys send me emails, questions. If you have anything that you're not willing to discuss on the public forum, I'll do my best to hook up with you and answer your questions that way. Or maybe I can consider making a video for you about it. Oh, see Ryan again. I ran a 6-ton Kubota for the first time. Yeah, those are a different beast all in their own. 2 years doing some tight residential work, so that's where I can make myself look good compared to some other guys. If you can make yourself look good on a Kubota, dude, Ryan, you're killing it. I mean, you're gonna move up eventually. I mean, it takes time, years to do that. I mean, 30 years, took me. I mean, so the first company I worked for 15 years, I started out as a grunt on the ground, grade setter, loader hand, then got up to backfill, then into pipe layer. I ran pipe lay crew for like a year and a half, 2 years. Then they started expanding the company and got more jobs, and that got me into a digging position, and eventually got me into a lead digging position. I was about second or third in the company as a digger. It was a small company. It was only like a $25-30 million a year company. So it wasn't a huge company, but it wasn't necessarily a tiny company either. So once the guy above me retired, then I got to move up into that A1 position and got the benefits that come along with that. So, and again, like I said, it just takes time, man. This career. It is truly a career. It's not a job. It's a long-term investment with your life to become and just keep striving to be the best that you can. Always push the guys around you to be better, push yourself to be better. I always treated everything as a competition. So anytime I was on a job with another digger, it was always a competition who could do the better job. Not only just fast and make a mess, but do it fast and make it look beautiful as well. If you can dig quick and be beautiful and pass everything, dude, that's where you are. I'm not the fastest digger in the world, but my stuff usually looks pretty. Usually, not always. There are some situations where beauty cannot be had. Uh, Windsor. I just hate digging between buildings, building a track and take a scoop, track back out, dump it. Makes for a long, yes. Tracking in and out, taking a scoop, having to move to throw your material. That's just a sucky kind of day. It's just you wear yourself out. You're wearing out the machine more than it needs to be, but it's a necessity. And being able to do those kinds of things and being able to be relied on to do that kind of stuff in that type of situation makes you worth a little more investment in the company, because they'll say, oh, well, here's a job that's tight and you get pigeonholed into this stuff. You're good at it. Is they'll say, hey, look, there's this job that's really tight. Who do we have that can do this? Your name's going to pop up and they'll maybe pull you off of wherever you are and they'll stick you over there to go dig. So it's a win-lose situation. But after a while, those win-lose situations get smaller and smaller, and they become more wins and wins all the time. Ryan, yes, it does. Windsor, I hate those. Yep. Josh, how far are you working from home right now? And do you get paid for travel time? That one I'm not supposed to answer. So you can put your own imagination. I have benefits outside of standard pay. I get paid above scale. That I'll tell you, because we have a scale system within the company for operators. We have dispatch pay, which is whatever the union dispatches you are, is what you get. And those are usually the guys that come and go. Then we have which would be considered the C list operators within our company. I'm not talking about union description. I'm talking about company description. So we have a C, B, and A operators. The B operators get typically like about $1 over scale, and then A operators will get whatever they're getting above scale. And then so I'm a little bit above A at this point, and I'm eventually not going to be operating anymore. I'm going to be moving up into a new role within the company. As soon as that happens, I'll let you guys know what that is, because I'm still trying to figure out what the job offer is. I've already um, been offered a new position in the company. I just need to get that tightened up and get all the T's and crosses and dots and all that garbage done. So that way I know where I'm actually officially at. Once that's done, I'll let you guys know and see and get that excitement out of me, because it's another phase of the career that's going to progress forward. And a lot of guys that are really good at what they do, some operators move up into foreman's positions. I've been asked to be a foreman before. I actually turn it down because I don't like the way this company does it. But the job offer I got is not that type of a job. And a lot of the foremans that in the company, they move up into superintendent roles later on in their years. So it's a good way to move up. If you want to be a foreman, you start as an operator, you become really good at everything on the job, maybe not an expert at everything on the job, but you know the entire job. You get bumped into a small crew foreman position, you learn the foreman roles, all the paperwork that's involved with it. If you get good at that, then you get bumped into large crew, mainline crews, and doing big jobs. That's where the excitement stuff comes in, and the headaches come. A lot of headaches come with that position. uh Ryan, oh, so distance, Josh, yeah, I'm only like 35 minutes from home right now, which is actually really close for me. I spent the first 18 years of my career living in a trailer on job sites, over 2 hours from home, and saved me a ton of money. The trailer paid for itself. I bought a brand new trailer in 2003, and I still own it today. I paid it off several years ago, but it's more than paid for itself going to projects and jobs like that. But the problem is now when the wife asks, "Hey, let's go on a vacation. Let's take the trailer on a vacation." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time in that trailer. I'm done with it." So, and I'm lucky enough, the crew that I've been a part of for the last 6, 7 years now has all been close to home, all within driving distance, I guess you could say, all within, say, 45 minutes to an hour of home. That's about my limit for driving, is about an hour. In California, that's not very far, being as much traffic as we have. Okay, Ryan. I have to keep that in case I end up in a machine crew in November. Half the company leaves for hunting, so I'm hoping I'll get a week or two away from the restoration crew and try the main line. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. That's another way of thinking, and that's like I said, you want to get noticed when everyone else is taking vacations and the operators disappear. Even when your mainline operator takes off, you jump into his seat to keep the machine moving while he's out taking a dump. If you're lucky enough to get in that position, I've done that with some of my sub guys. With my lower guys, I'll say, "Hey, get over here, jump in the machine, keep it digging while I go take this a hot steamer." And that's, I had guys do that for me, and I do it for my guys. It gives them a little bit of time on the seat, lets them see what I'm doing, and then they realize they don't have a clue what I'm doing because they get up there and they go, "Oh my God, there's so much going on here." In the way that I do things, I have a streamlined process that I've developed over years and years of doing it, where movements are as few as possible. So when I dig, I look to save seconds. I don't save minutes. I save seconds on every set, every move. It's it's a constant flow. It's a motion. It's fluid. You come in for a scoop, you throw that dirt in your pile, you come right back in without stopping. It's not a single stick. You stick your bucket in there, pull, lift up, swing over, dump it in one spot, and then come back over. And then there's other diggers. You'll see this a lot. You'll see guys that will come out, throw the material, suck the boom and everything back in, swing back to the ditch, and then reach back out and then go for their scoop. It has to be in, out, down, in, up, out, down, and it's just a circle. You're just working a circle. It's just a smooth rotation of the machine, and you don't make any extra moves that you don't need to. That's what I'm going to strive for from day one. I don't need to be the fastest guy. I'd rather be the guy they call when they need someone that can work in tight situations and do it safely. Yes. So being able to do things safely is a big part of it, but also you have to do it safely and productive. There's a balance in there. The balance I have has pigeonholed me into certain jobs where they won't put me because I do have that production mentality. So there are other places I've gotten over some of those issues that I've had where production came first over some of my other being clean and things like that. There's a lot of steps that you go through as an operator. You'll become good. You'll get to a point where, hey, I'm good. I've moved up. I'm now at this level. And then an attitude will show up and you won't even realize you've got the attitude. And somebody will have to just take you and smack you into the dirt to make you realize, oh, yeah, okay, I've got an attitude problem. Now I need to resolve that with myself and move forward. And eventually you do get past that, take a couple, maybe 2-3 years, depending on how stubborn you are. But realizing it is the first step. Realizing that you have a problem is always the first step. There's enough ramrods out there. I don't need to be another one of those guys. Yeah, we call them stick guys. Guys that just run the machines with a crimped fist around the controls, just yeah, I'm making progress. Yeah, I'm doing the job. Yeah. No, that sucks. Those guys, those are the guys we send home first. Okay, so Windsor, will you still be operating if you take the offer? That's a good question. That it may or may not be part of my job description. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I have to work out because I will be basically I will be the training officer for the company. I will be the head instructor for the operators that come and go from our company. Be my responsibility to evaluate and train all the operators. So if you come to my company, you'll get me as your guy that's going to teach you how to do your job. So, all right. Where are we at? We're at an hour 14 minutes. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, sounds cool. I don't know how much paperwork is going to be involved in travel. The problem with this job offer is that the company I'm in covers all the way to where does it go? We go into the Bay Area. They cover San Francisco, South Bay, and the Valley of California, going north and south. So we are a large company, very large company. That means I would have to be traveling a lot to do training in certain different areas and evaluating new operators in the Bay Area and in the Valley. So it's not like we have multiple people doing this one job. It will just be me doing the job. They have a guy, or they had a guy that was doing the job. And what it was you guys in this YouTube channel that got me this position offer, is because there's a lot more to the offer than just what I've said. But the YouTube channel is what really got me into the position of saying, "Hey, I need that." They wanted to put me in that position for this guy that they're laying off. So, you know, it's a proud moment for myself. I was floored when I was asked. I thought, because when the general superintendent, like the fourth guy on the ladder, below the owner of the company, he came out to the job to talk to me personally. I thought I was getting a cease and desist order from the company saying you can't make videos on any of our jobs anymore. That was what I was expecting. And then he came out and talked to me about a whole bunch of other stuff. And I was on the project getting paid for 2 hours talking to this guy. And I was floored. I really was, about what was going on. And so I still a little emotional about it. It's, I guess you could say it's a bit scary and exciting all at the same time, because I have been on the outdoors doing running equipment my entire life since I was, God, I don't even remember. I think I got on my first piece of equipment when I was 11 years old. So it's just something I've done my entire life. And so swapping out of the seat of the machine to teach people, that has been a goal of mine, but it also meant I would be in the field working with them. And, it's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to join the local 3 training center. I was going to be an excavator operator instructor out there. And the nice thing about doing that is, if you can get that position in the training system, you're getting 2 paychecks. You're going to get or actually 2 retirements. You'll get your union retirement, and then you'll get the IUEO retirement, because you'll be working for 2 unions basically. At that point, you'll be getting a regular paycheck, but you'll be collecting 2 retirements, or building 2 retirements at the same time, which is really cool. And that's what I wanted to do, but I'm way past being able to make any money on that retirement program. And then now I've got this offer. So, Ryan, Windsor, sounds like a waste of talent to put you in that position. Okay. Now, here's the statement I got. If you can train, so talking to me, this guy says, if we pull you off that machine, we're taking a great loss. But if you can train, if we hire 20 guys and you train 5 of them to be close to what you are, we are ahead of the game. That's what I was told. And that's what they expect of me, is to train at least 5 guys before I retire to be as good as me. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith. So, Ryan, our company doesn't have anything like that. Basically, sink or swim, fight for your position, or suck and get picked on by everyone. Oh yeah, I've been in that. That's that first company I talked about. I've been there. That is if you don't show up, you lose your seat kind of company. If you're late or whatever, I've been to companies where there were multiple apprentices on the job site doing the same thing, running like 623 paddle wheel scrapers. I showed up, rain, shine, no matter what. This other apprentice that I was working with, he was 1 step above me. I was a first step apprentice. He was a second step apprentice. And if it rained, he wouldn't show up. I would show up. I show up on the job, and they said, you know what? Everyone else is taking off. You know what? You want to run that dozer out there, just push some dirt around and get some practice, go for it. We'll pay you for 4 hours. I'd go out there, I run that dozer, not having a clue what I'm doing. The foreman would sit around and wait, and I'd ask him some questions, and he'd tell me what I needed to do, what he wanted it to look like, and I'd do my damnedest. And that's how I got an education on a dozer, besides the training that I had gotten prior. But most of the track stuff I ran were cat and can, the old cable stuff. That's what I learned on the first cat. Didn't even have a blade on the damn thing, just had a scraper can on the back that I towed around. Farming is great. You get to run all kinds of crazy stuff. Ryan, sometimes it's a long-term investment. It's always a long-term investment. Everything is a long-term investment in this career. Investing your time and energy into the right people to befriend is a major thing. You want to pick the people that you befriend very carefully. Your laborers included, the people you work side by side with, treat them like they're acquaintances, but don't treat them like assholes. Unless you're an asshole like me. I mean, you can be a nice asshole. And still be able to be friends with people. And I've been told, I had one laborer come to me, and this was when I was in that real big head phase that I went through about 12 years into my career. I had a real big head, and he came to me and he says, and he had just recently gone off to like tour. He'd been bouncing around from different crews, came back to our crew when we picked up another housing project. And he came to me and said, why is it you're the biggest asshole in the company, but you're the only asshole I want to work with? That was a real backhanded compliment. And just it exacerbated my ego a little more. And it's just one of those things where you take pride in being an asshole sometimes. And I don't know, it works for me. I run on the ragged edge of that. I know when to give people backhanded compliments, just like that compliment, and being able, like I said, being able to be friends with certain people and trusting people with things. You have to have trust in the guys that you work with. Otherwise, there's no sense in working with them. And befriending foremen, superintendents, those are the guys you sound like and you look like a brown noser, but it's your career, man. It's your career. If you're seen as a brown noser, there is a limit to it. You can hang out, be cool, talk to them for a couple of minutes, not too long, so it looks like you're, but you wind up getting seen, and that's what I talk about when I say FaceTime. You come up, say hi, give them the fist bump, a shake on the hand, whatever it is, and just get known. The more you get known, the more you get to conversate with them, and the more the crew looks at you, say, okay, that's normal. The more normal it becomes, the more you get to talk to them, the better you get, and the more friendly you get with them, and move up. And then when things come up, hey, you're at the top of the list to go up. Bryce, hey, welcome in. Nice to have somebody else say something in here. What's up? On my last 3 weeks of permit, local 101, Kansas City. Hey, good deal. Last 3 weeks, get her done, man. Just be ready for that. Entry fee. That's gonna come. I hope you got a little cash stowed for that. Cali Dad, I think this is. Hey, I'm starting out. So when okay, I need to calm down a little here. Hi. Hey, I'm starting out. So when you are digging, what are the tricks to a nice and straight trench on an excavator? Nice and straight trench on an excavator is pretty much, you have to keep the machine tracking on your center line, no matter how you do it. I do it in a bit of a unique way. I use rocks every 25 feet. And so at every stake, we pull off center, put a dot, and then I put a rock on top of it. Now, the reason I use rocks, dirt clods, whatever, is they protrude above the ground. They're much easier to see than a flat dot on a flat surface. So that way you can take these rocks that are sticking up, and when you spin around, you look down them and they all line up in a straight line. So you just keep that machine, as you come up to each dot, and you look down, and as long as you have the same separation on both sides of the machine on either side of that rock, you're going to be digging in the same spot. So as long as when you take your scoops and you're digging down, as long as you're not trying to fight left and right, trying to hope you're on center line, just dig the machine. The machine will naturally dig to the center, and you just dig online, and that's it. It's just, and make sure you have your ground man pulling off the stakes after you've dug a set and you're going past a stake. Stakes are typically, I think for us, they're every 50 feet. So every time you pass a stake, have your grade guy pull out center line, drop a rock on your center line, and make sure you are where you're supposed to be. If you're not where if you're an inch or two off, hey, I need to move my tracks over about 1 or 2 inches on the center line marks that you have. A lot of guys will get string line and paint a straight line. There's a couple of different ways you can do a straight line on your center line. You can measure out and figure out what your track line is. If you can see the outside of your tracks, most likely you'll paint the inside of your track for track line. And then you just keep that track right on that line in the same spot, and that'll keep the machine straight and square on your whole dig. And that's the more of what I consider the rookie way of doing it. But some guys do that their entire career and don't trust any other way of doing it. I just was lucky enough that I've got really good eyes and I'm able to dig in a straight line. If you paint me a straight line, I'm going to dig a ditch that goes like this. If I have the rocks every 25 feet, I'll dig a straight line. My head is just screwed up that way. So that's just me. And like I said, everyone, Ryan, Windsor, all you guys, you figure out what you like best and what works for you. Don't do what everyone just tells you to do, but try it. Try everything at least once or twice. Give it an honest try. Like track line, put it out there and see if you like it. If it's working for you and you like the way that works, stick with it because it works for you. For me, the rocks are what I learned early on because I did them as a grade setter for my mainline guy. He told me how he measured the rig and how he dug it, and I learned from watching him, and it just transferred. That's the way I did it, and that's the way I continue to do it today. And I put a rock, and I have guys that come out to the job that are hire-ons that look and see that I have a rock every 25 feet. And they go, how the hell are you digging a straight ditch? I go, it's the way I've been doing it my whole career. And so it's just one of those things that I got used to, and I figured out how to do it. And that's all you got to do is you got to figure out how you like to do it, and you do it your way. Don't let anyone change how you do your job. All right, Ryan. Anytime I've been on the new crew, I show up early and talk to the guys and usually hang around for a couple of minutes at the end of the day just to talk with the foreman or one of the top guys on the crew. That is an excellent thing to do. And I encourage everyone to do that. A lot of times we have guys that hang out, they'll have a beer after work, off site, if that's how we're parking our cars off site. And hanging out with the crew is good, but talking with the foreman before and after, especially after the day, and say, hey, did I do good? Is there anything else I can do better? Did you like what I was doing? What didn't you like? Are there any places I can improve? Or maybe just shoot the breeze and see how the job site is going. And if he's got the time, he'll talk with you and tell you. If he doesn't have the time or he's in a rush to go home, then you go home. Lead guys, some guys will stick around, some guys won't. And again, befriend the right people and you'll get more than enough information to continue your career and move up in the world. Ryan, I've been trying to meet as many people as I can and try to talk with them at least a little bit so they hopefully recognize me in the future. That's exactly how you do it. It's how I do it. Go in, even if you just sit in the corner of the room, not staring at your phone and paying attention to what's going on in the room. Like I'll go in the office. And when I worked for Peter Kiewit, I would go into the office and they had this job was so big, they had 3 superintendents running the project. And I would go into that office and I would sit there and chill, have some water in the morning and just find out what was going on. Maybe I'd sneak over and look at the plans for the job site for the area I was working in just to see what it was going to look like. Just in my brain, I like to do those kinds of things. And eventually, they pulled me off a machine. I was running a 651 scraper, huge scrapers. And they came out and asked, "Does anyone know how to grade set?" I was like, "Yeah, me. I know how to grade set. I hate scrapers. Take me off this damn piece of garbage." So they put me on. They gave me a truck and everything, and was a grade setter for the season. And they loved me and took me to another job, which was up in the mountains when on a beautiful job up in Yosemite, doing a renovation on the Highway 120, widening the road so people in RVs wouldn't hit the mountain anymore. And there were a lot of people that did that. Okay. Kelly Dad, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, anytime you guys got questions, I got my email addresses tagged at the top here. You guys can email me if you want. I'll do my best to respond to everybody and get answers wherever I can. Or if I can't make a email response, I'll make a video response to you guys. Josh Douglas, have you ever had a foreman or coworker you couldn't stand to work with? Yes, yes. Coworkers, especially. Um, I've been put in a place where I've had guys throw shovels at me and arguments close to fights. I hate fighting. I'm not a proponent of it, although I can do it. It's not something I like doing. Um, I like talking my way out of a fight, which I've gotten really good at. And being at my age, fighting is getting harder and harder to do, especially if you get hurt. Recovery sucks. But yeah, I have worked for foremans that were spitters and sprayers. You know, the yellers. Those guys are horrible to work around. Oh yeah, it's just they make life hell, and it makes the whole job suck. Everybody's on edge, and nobody likes working. It's just it just makes it for a crappy day of work. Windsor, yeah, I've had time digging straight. All of it. I've had a hard time digging straight on all the minis because the boom is not in the center of the machine. I've got an excellent clue for you on that one. Measure it. Measure the width of the machine. Measure where the center of the boom is, and then offset your machine for the center of the boom. That will solve your problem. So one of the things I do on the mini excavators, if I have the room, I will put the I will actually swing the bucket a little bit. So I'm actually turned slightly and I have the bucket articulated or the boom articulated so that way the inside of the bucket or sorry, the outside of the bucket is on the inside of my right track. And then I just put the center line mark about 6 inch, depending on the width. So if I got a 2 foot bucket, that center line mark is 1 foot off the inside of my track. So it's kind of like a track line. And then you just dig like that all day long. As long as your tracks stay the exact same position the entire time, you'll be on center line. All right. Here's a question. How do you deal with foremen that you hate? How do you work through that, or how do you get off the foreman's site? Unfortunately, that is you have to go above them and make a complaint to the company. Superintendent would be the step above them because you can't make a complaint to the guy you hate. So you've got to make a call either to office to the HR if there is one, but the superintendent or someone above him, and just say, hey, I just want to get off the crew. I love working for the company. I just can't stand working for this guy. Sometimes they'll be able to make a concession and be able to move you to another crew. You may be starting all over on a new crew, or you may be actually winding up in a better position. And it may be that it just could be driving distance. Maybe the normal guy that worked for that foreman is working on the crew that they move you to, and he gets his guy back, and then you're over there. And that might be the problem, is he doesn't like you because the guy he wants is on the other crew. So sometimes that happens, and I've had that happen to me. Yes, Windsor, yeah, definitely give it a try. And that's even the large machines. Like when you get even like, okay, so the John Deere 450 excavator, the older ones, this is a good example. If you measure the outside of the tracks, measure where center of the boom is, and put a paint mark on the undercarriage. And that's what I did. Put a paint mark on your undercarriage for center line, and then put a paint mark for center line of the boom, and look and see what the differences are there. On the John Deere 450s, it was a 6-inch difference. So if your machine sat on center, you were digging 6 inches off center every day. And then guys would get in the habit of, you're digging straight, but they were turning the house slightly off with the bucket sideways, trying to dig a straight line sideways, trying to make up for that 6 inches they didn't realize they were off. And they would just fight that all day long. And I did that for a long time. I'd measure every machine. I would measure it, grab my ground guy. I'd measure. He says, "Why are we measuring the machine?" I said, just trust me for a minute here. Measure the machine, measure the boom. Sure enough, it's 5 to 6 inches off center. And I say, see, now I know I need to sit 6 inches to the left. And then I'm on center all the time. So I'm going to call it right here, guys. It's been an hour and a half, a little more than that. So my voice is starting to dry up a little bit. Thank you guys for coming in. Smash that like button before you guys take off. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm hoping to get some more videos. I've got content lined up to do. It's just a matter of finding time to do it. So thanks for hanging in with me for all this time, guys. I really do like doing this for you guys. And I hope you guys keep coming back. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed, and smash that like button. And I'll see you guys next time. All right.